I'm Jess, and welcome to Pioneer Valley Habitat for Humanity. Let's go over a few tips to keep in mind when volunteering on site. Wearing proper personal protective equipment, or PPE, is extremely important on the job site. When you come to site, be sure to wear sturdy, closed-toed shoes with good traction. This protects you against slips, trips, and falls. It also protects you from anything sharp that might be on the ground, like nails or screws or glass. Be sure to wear clothes that you don't mind getting dirty and potentially torn. Long pants and covered shoulders are recommended. In cold weather, wear layers. Today I'm wearing 1, 2, 3, 4 layers because it's cold out here. Always tie back and secure long hair and jewelry to prevent it from getting caught. Pioneer Valley Habitat for Humanity also requires that hard hats are worn on site at all times. Don't worry if you don't have one, we have plenty for you to borrow. Gloves and safety glasses are also recommended, and we can provide those here too. I also like to bring my own earplugs because things can get kind of loud around here sometimes. But if you don't have any, you're welcome to borrow ear protection like this that we have here on site. Now, let's talk about the site itself. Job sites are active work zones with plenty of unavoidable hazards. However, if you keep your eyes and your ears open, sites are still a safe place to be. Most on-site injuries come from slips, trips, and falls. Watch out for unstable terrain, tripping hazards, and slippery surfaces. Move anything that might cause you to lose your balance. Sawdust is a common culprit for slips, especially on roofs, so it's important to keep the job site as neat as possible. Be aware of your fellow volunteer actions as well. Listen for any warnings of hazardous work around you, such as saw or nailer use. Lastly, don't forget to look up. Falling debris, like shingles off of roofs, can cause injuries, and that's why hard hats are mandatory on site. Next up, communication. The safest sites are the ones with the most communication. Every morning, your site supervisor should give a quick safety talk reviewing the pertinent hazards for the day, as well as tutorials or demonstrations for any skills necessary. This is a great time to ask questions, but don't be afraid to ask questions at any point during the day. It's always better to ask questions and avoid an accident. Communication between volunteers is equally as important. Let those around you know if you're about to do something potentially unsafe, like use a saw or nailer in their area. Also, don't be afraid to speak up if you see someone doing something potentially dangerous. If you feel comfortable, approach them yourself. Otherwise, let your supervisor know. Finally, and most importantly, don't be afraid to speak up if you feel unsafe or uncomfortable doing a job assigned to you. There's plenty of work to go on around here, and we're happy to find something else that can make you feel more safe. Ladders are commonly used on all job sites, and they can be extremely useful, safe tools when used correctly. However, they can quickly become dangerous when used incorrectly. When choosing a ladder, pick one that looks stable and otherwise undamaged. Choose the right height ladder for the job. You should never stand on a rung higher than third from the top. If you can't do that, pick a new ladder. When you set up your ladder, put it on even, solid ground so it doesn't wobble. Working on a wobbly ladder is both unsafe and really scary. When climbing a ladder, be sure to maintain 3 points of contact at all times. This could mean 2 hands and 1 foot, 2 feet and 1 hand, or 2 feet and your belly button if you're using your hands to work. While you're on a ladder, keep your body centered between the supports. Don't lean too far one way or the other, as this could throw you or the ladder off balance. Sometimes you might need to reach even higher heights and use an extension ladder. An extension ladder only has one set of rungs and has to be leaned against something to use. Never use a step ladder as an extension ladder. When you set up an extension ladder, use the 4 and 1 rule. This means for every 4 feet of height, you have to place the ladder at least 1 foot away from the wall you're leaning against. So this is about an 8-foot wall, which means this ladder needs to be at least 2 feet away from the wall. Additionally, the ladder should extend at least 3 feet past the surface that you're leaning against. This just gives extra stability. Now let's talk about tools. We'll start with hand tools. We use hand tools a lot on site. The most common ones are hammers, box knives, wrenches, and different kinds of hand saws. All of these are pretty safe, but it's important to keep your hands away from the point of operation, so where the blade is cutting the wood or where the hammer is hitting the nail, to avoid getting pinches or cuts. Other commonly used hand tools on site are levels, speed squares, T-squares, and of course tape measures. Your supervisor will explain to you what these do if you need to use it. Next up, power tools. Power tools are an important part of any job site. Our favorites around here are power drills and portable circular saws. Every tool comes with its own set of unique risks, and you should review those with your site supervisor before you use any tool. But there are some commonalities across all tools that we should go over. The most important rule when using power tools is to only use tools that you're comfortable with. If you're ever uncomfortable, stop using it and ask for help. Secondly, keep your hands away from the point of operation. While this might be obvious with tools like saws, power drills can still cause painful finger injuries. They're all prescribed PPE when you're working with power tools. Most often, this is hard hats and safety glasses. However, hearing protection is also highly recommended. Make sure your workspace is clear of all debris, and especially the cord to the saw. Cutting electrical cords can cause electrical shocks. Alert everyone in your vicinity that you're going to use a tool. At the least, power tools are really loud and they might just want to relocate for that reason. But power tools can also cause flying debris that can cause injuries. Working on the roof. Never go on the roof if you feel uncomfortable. However, if you are comfortable at heights, there are still some steps to safety that you have to be aware of. All volunteers should wear safety harnesses when they're on the roof. Site supervisors will give you an overview of how to correctly wear and attach your harness to the safety mechanisms. While you're on the roof, pay attention to where you step. Stepping on sawdust, loose shingles, or your harness rope can cause falls. Try not to drop things off the edge of the roof. This is a danger to the people working below. If you must drop material, alert volunteers on the ground. Roofing can also be extremely hot work. Be sure to hydrate, take shade breaks, and wear sunscreen to avoid heat-related illness. Weather. Habitat work generally occurs rain and shine, so always dress for the weather. This could mean wearing sunglasses and sunscreen, raincoats and waterproof shoes, or many layers. In the bitter cold, we recommend wearing snow pants. Always bring lots of water to avoid dehydration and food to keep your energy levels up. Site organization. The job site should be kept neat and organized. Avoid leaving tools at heights, especially on top of ladders, as they could fall on someone. Additionally, make sure walking paths are clear of debris, material, and cords to prevent any trips or falls. Nothing should be precariously stacked or balanced. Lastly, take care of slippery surfaces by sweeping up sawdust and salting ice. Every Habitat site has a safety binder listing emergency phone numbers on nearest emergency care facilities and emergency procedures. At the very least, know where this binder is. Usually it's in the shed. And review it at least once while on site. They look like this. Have fun! Volunteering with Habitat for Humanity is a great way to give back to the community and learn new skills. The more you give, the more you get from Habitat. So have fun, make new friends, and learn as much as you can.